So I don't plan this particularly, so every time it turns out a little bit different, so, which makes it fun for me. Okay, let's see. There is spreading with the 3-inch Mottler. So you can see, very good tool for spreading. I will say that I'm a bit practiced because I've been doing this now for, well, this is our 27th showing, so I've been doing for 27 times. But I use them in my studio all the time, not necessarily for this exactly, but for this as one of the many ways that I use them. So that's the 3-inch. Okay, let's see how to scrape through with the 3-inch. So how nicely it pulls all the paint right off. Okay, 3 inches wide. 3 inches wide. An excellent tool for very large pieces. An excellent tool for putting on a background on a painting or preparing a board for painting. Very, very good for putting gesso on, because you can actually push the gesso right down into the weave of either, you know, your canvas. So it's got, okay, so the other thing I want to show is that it is, though it's big, it's super for expressive marks. See, there's some nice expressive marks. There's some more. So a lot of these are the exact same marks that I used on some of these other paintings that I was demonstrating for. Just the more you play with them, the more you can find different marks. And I found this 3-inch Mottler to be really great for me because I do paint large. And the other thing is I'm not painting flowers or landscapes. I'm an abstract painter, so this makes it a really good choice for me. So there, expressive marks. What else do I want to say? That's it. Oh, just because it's 3 inches wide doesn't mean that, you know, you can't make something much smaller. And if you start going faster, then your marks get, you start to develop a system of your own sense of the kinds of marks that you make. I'm just going to put this down. I'm going to show you how to clean it. So, no water. Oops, I think I've got a bigger rag than I need here. Okay. It's all right, I'll use this one. So, I keep usually little smaller rags, but I keep damp rags available, and so I don't rinse them in water. And it's important that it's a damp rag because a damp cloth. This isn't actually a rag; it's a new cloth. But, then I just rinse them out after I work them. I save them up. As long as they're damp, the acrylic won't stick to them and they'll be like new. So there it is, a few seconds, and it's ready to go again as though I've never used it. Okay, and this is the 2.5. Yeah, okay, getting better at this. Focusing thing on my, so once again, I'm just going to play with this. It's a 2.5 inch wide. We've only got red on there now, so, but you can see I can make very nice, distinct little lines, and I'm doing them very slowly. I usually paint much faster, but just to show, you start off doing these slow, and then you start to develop your own vocabulary of painting, and then you realize how fast you can go and what you might want to do with them. So, and then there's just a pull through. So here the one thing I want to show is that when you pull through, before you pull it, that's the mass tone of the paint. And if you're a beginning artist, you want to know what that color is, but you also want to know what the color is if you push a little lighter and almost pink. So it's a way of discovering. You can use these to mix paints and figure out like what the darkest color is. That would be the darkest it can be, and the lightest color without adding white, providing you're working on a white background. So here we are, and we're working on butcher paper. I think do I have? Yeah, I do have the wax side. I do have the plastic side up, so that's great. So once again, I'm just going to erase that. It's like playing with one of those, I don't know, some kind of a magic board or something. If we had absorbent paper, you would be getting different results, but that's a whole different. I mean, I do that too, but that would be more like painting on an actual board. But depending on what sort of surface you put on the board, if you put a gloss surface on the board right away, you would be able to make these marks, and they would dry just exactly the way you want them to dry, just exactly the way you put them on. So that's the 2.5 inch. Very good. It's actually good for fairly large size boards too, or fairly large size paintings. Also, we can just play with, oh no, we'll play with the other one here. The 2 inch. And so 2 inch scrape through, 2 inch marks. See something like this. I'm not going to do it this time, but what I have done in other classes is I've taken a mono print off of it. So I've laid a piece of paper on top of it and taken a print off of it, and I've got some here. So this is an example of taking a print off a very large piece. Usually that spoils the original, but then because it's so wet and fun to play with, you can just keep going and going and going and going and going. So if you make a certain type of mark, so this, I'm making kind of ribbon marks now. Woo! But if you're making marks like this, you can write a little note in there. That's my secret. That could be a secret Valentine painting. I love you. So you can see it. Not everybody can see it. And there's Phoebe. You can sign it. You can use a sharper end if you want to. But that's a secret message painting. So you could send a secret Valentine message on one of these beautiful postcards with a big heart on it. I love you. And then just sort of make it disappear. Anyway, here I am on Valentine's Day. It's December the 24th. Okay, so that's some of the things you can do with this. So once again, making your own marks, deciding what your own marks are, or in some cases, for a lot of artists, it's not about deciding, it's about finding out what your marks are, because you've never really explored. If you're like me, you may have felt like an artist your entire life, but never really got paintbrush or tools in your hands so that you did a lot of exploring. And so this is a way to find out what the marks are that you like and the marks are that you're likely to use. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to wipe it off. Once again, very clean. So this time I'm going to Add a color. Last few times I've been adding gold, but I think, I could add gold again. It's sort of Christmassy. I know if I add green, does everybody know what I'll get if I add green? Well, unfortunately, if I add green, I'll get mud. So maybe we'll add green on the last one, but not this one. Okay. So this, oops, look at that's not so clean, is it? There it is. 1.5 inch. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to lightly pull over the surface, showing that you can apply paint on top of other paint. That might not be the sort of thing you want to do. It depends on, you know, whether you're a realistic artist or sort of like an experimental abstract person, which probably is, I'm in that category. So now I have a whole load of paint on it. This is a gold paint, and there's no gold in it, of course, but it's an iridescent molecule or piece of something. It's probably not just a molecule. Is immersed in a medium, and so it shines. And part of the reason it's so shiny is that the medium is clear and you can see through it. So it really works beautifully with paints that are transparent. But if you put them with a paint that isn't transparent, the color will just sort of kill the gold flecks and the reflections of the gold flecks. So this would be kind of fun to look at this if I left this like this tomorrow, because I would have sort of a ready gold surface and I would have a plain gold background. I'm tempted to just do that, but I'm not going to. I have to demonstrate the 1 inch. So this gives you an idea of how you can, you know, just play with these. And here, I'll go through that. And nothing. These are just a different color of mark, a different size of mark. And a reminder that if you're going to use these for oil paints or for wax, cold wax techniques, remember to always rinse them after you've used them in solvents, or they'll get very soft and they will not perform the same way though. Okay. See, I've made this funny red stuff a couple of times now, and it just fascinates me. And the reason it works is because the red I'm using is a quinacridone red, and quinacridone reds are transparent. So you've got a sort of a yellow gold transparency thing going on here, and quite a lot of paint on here. The reason I can tell it's a lot, well, I can see all the paint, but because there's so much paint, then I haven't really got any sort of pictures forming underneath. If I've used a little less paint, you can see how just pushing it down completely removes the product. And if you wipe your brush between each one and overlap, you can completely remove something that's like this. Maybe you don't like it, maybe you want to start again. You can pretty much remove entirely. I'm going, oh, I don't want to throw away that beautiful paint, so what am I going to do? I'm just going to grab this and put it on there. I'll save it for later. So I'm going to do another painting. I'm going to do a few more things today. Okay, so there we go. Very pretty. Lots of fun. Let's see what happens when we just stop the party and add green. Oops. Well, not green. We don't want to add green. We'll add blue. But it'll be the same thing because the gold is yellow. So that's sort of like a green. So let's add, which color of blue should we add? Let's color, oh. I don't think I have an amzn.to blue. Add just this ultramarine blue, I believe. Although it may be not very much. I should have mixed that before I did it. So here, I'm just gonna go. Well, this is I should have added an opaque blue. This is semi-transparent, so I'm going to take some of this off too. Oh, see, I'm starting to get some ghosting behind there, so that's what I was hoping I'd get. And so much for my clean as I go. Here, I'll clean the 1 inch. So the blue is actually staying pretty nice. It's going a little bit murky, not too bad. Like that one. So what I'm going to do is try and do one of those basket things. I should be able to do it. So that just means a bunch of parallel lines. And if you've let part of the background dry before, you probably would have a more interesting background than I do. So I'm going to go over and under, over and under. So over and under, over and under, over. So you can probably see the basket already starting to appear. So you're just basically doing the same thing as if you were weaving a basket, only you're using paint. So these are fun things to do, especially if you're just learning how to use tools and things like that. I also find it fascinating because I try it one way and then another way and see what the difference is. Do it on a smooth paper. Oops, am I still right? I think I am. Is this supposed to go under or over? Oh, I think I did 2 wrong. Oh my goodness sakes. This should have been over. This should have been under. Over. Under. So that's a slightly mucked up one. That's okay. And that's just to show you how those work.